Welcome to Stressless, the recliner that lets you create your own personal comfort zone. With a smooth reclining glide system that eases your body into the perfect position for total relaxation. Plus full lumbar support and a headrest that adjusts automatically. Stressless. Relax your body, free your mind.
Come, experience Stressless at Inbo Furniture in Cornelius.
Hi everyone, I'm Bill Rosinski. Welcome to another edition of Sports Night at South End Brewery. Football, the topic of discussion tonight. We have a couple of guests I'm sure a lot of you in this area will recognize. Our first guest is a guy who joined the Carolina Panthers their first season, 1995, and in 96 was a big part of the offense that helped his team get to the NFC Championship game. He would later go on to have great success with the Denver Broncos. He owns the golf course now in Shelby. Wide receiver, Willie Green. Willie, great to see you.
Thank you, Bill. Great to see you.
So how is the golf course?
It's in great shape. I played it on Saturday, and it's in excellent condition. Don't have to move the ball, so you can't cheat on the strokes now. Play it down.
All right, the name of the golf course, for those of you who might like to play it, is Deerbrook. How did you get it? Was this something that you wanted to do after football, is get involved in the golf business?
Well, it was something I've always wanted to do. My father was a golfer. According to his friends, he were about a 2 handicap.
Wow.
But he was also a caddy. And as a kid, I used to go play golf with him. And of course, back in those days, there were only limited golf courses that he could play. And that was my goal always, one day to own a golf course so he could be able to, or I can be able to go out and play whenever I wanted to. And it was a great goal, and I love the game of golf. I think golf is a true sport. I think it's an honest man's sport, and it's just a great game overall.
Let's go back in time for a lot of Panther fans who will certainly remember those first couple of seasons.
Right.
And you were a big part of it. Now, you were one of the original 10 players that the Panthers signed. They didn't have a coach yet.
Right.
They didn't have a stadium. Bill Polian and Mike McCormick were kind of trying to put things together. Talk about those early days. I remember you telling about that press conference when nobody knew what to ask.
Right. It was like, what do we ask these guys? I mean, they should be like, working somewhere in a restaurant or something. We never heard of these guys, and it was a nervous feeling for me. It was sort of an excitement, a rebirth for me. And I've always been the one to say that everything happens for a reason, and it was either Carolina or Jacksonville. And it was funny. I was really supposed to go to Jacksonville. And ended up, we were debating over signing bonuses, and they gave me a 24-hour deadline, and I didn't make the deadline. And just so happened Carolina had something on the table. So, everything happened for a reason, and I think by me choosing that path with Carolina, it made me a lot more successful in football. It lasted, my career lasted a little bit longer. But overall, I think it was the best move that I could have made. I met my wife, and we've been married for 10 years, and have a beautiful family. So, it goes back to saying that everything happens for a reason.
Talk about the 96 season, because here you are just a year in, second year of the team, and you guys win your first 3 games and get on this roll. That team was 5-4 at one point.
Right.
Then you had a little powwow. All you guys got together and said, you know what, there's something, we need to clear the air. You did it, and you never lost again until the NFC Championship game against Green Bay. Did you sense any of that coming when you started that season? You know
what, we sensed that in 95. We sensed it when we won the last game against the Falcons and toward the last part of the season. And what we did was, if you look at the team, we had a lot of great veterans. Sam Mills, Mike Fox, Lamar Latham. We had some veteran players that knew how to play, who had been to championship games, and we knew that we had the ability to do it. And everything fell in place, and guys started believing in each other. We started hanging out together. We started, spiritually just getting together and realizing that, hey, this is a lot of our last chance. So we wanted to make the best of it, and I think, overall, that was the best team that I've ever played on, no doubt.
Really? And you were on some pretty good ones in Denver. You get Super Bowl rings out of those.
But the closeness of those guys in Carolina compared to Denver, we talk about a lot how we used to go and eat at the restaurants together, or how we went out on Monday nights together and had, had some bonding time, and it was a great time. Guys, you didn't see guys getting in trouble. You didn't see that irresponsible behavior that you see now. And Coach Capers just said to us, hey, guys, you're veterans, you're grown men. We're going to treat you that way, and we didn't take advantage of that.
Talk about your relationship with Kerry Collins, because at some point during that 96 season,
right,
you became his go-to guy.
Right. Well, Kerry and I developed the bond off the field. And it was just a matter of trust. But on the field, Kerry and I used to go out early, and Mark Kerry as well. We used to go out before practice, and we stayed after practice. And the thing about it was that the bond, I knew on third down, when Kerry called a play, he looked right at me. That's going to tell me I'm coming to you regardless. First and second down, I knew Mark and Musin was going to get the ball. So it was just a matter of Kerry trusting me, and for me to be where I'm supposed to be, and me trusting him to put the ball where he's supposed to put it, and it came out great.
Let's talk about a couple of games. One, the game at San Francisco. You had a huge game. And I know that night leading into that game, you couldn't sleep, right?
Couldn't sleep at all.
Yeah, talk about that.
Well, it was just one of those games. That night before, I could not sleep. And I think I woke up at 3 o'clock. And I went downstairs, and Ed Stilwell, who was a security guy, was sitting downstairs, and him and I had some great conversation, and then I went out and walked on the boardwalk. He trusted me, and that was another thing. Normally they tell you to get back in your room, but I guess he probably sensed the same thing I sensed, and I knew going into that game that I was going to have a great game, and it turned out to be that way.
Yep, you turned Tyrone Drakeford inside out.
Inside
I remember it very well.
That's right.
All right, now let's talk about the Dallas playoff game, because I remember talking to Greg Cragen not long ago.
Right.
And he played at Mile High for a number of years with Denver. He said that crowd that night in Charlotte against Dallas was the loudest crowd he'd ever heard.
No doubt.
What sticks out about? I know we won. Panthers won the game, but what sticks out for you about that night?
Well, it goes back to the Monday through Friday when we were preparing for it. Normally, when you prepare for an out-of-town game, you have the crowd noise. They bring in the big amplifier speakers. This particular game, they didn't do that. So we were not prepared for the loud noise. We did not anticipate the loud noise. So when we got in the game, Kerry and I are standing just like you and I are. I couldn't hear the play. So it was pretty much hand signal and the reading of lips. And, that crowd was electrifying. And it really gave us the spirit and the boost to go out and do what we did. And I tell people to this day, that's one game that I will never forget. And if there's any game that a crowd actually won a game without actually being on the field, it was that particular game.
Of course, on to Green Bay after that and a loss in the NFC Championship game. And then, unfortunately for the Panthers, and maybe fortunately for you, because you ended up leaving the team.
Right.
You wanted to stay.
I wanted to stay.
Talk about that, how that played out. But you go to Denver and you get a couple of Super Bowls.
Well, it was, of course, we were trying to get something done the 96 season. But, Bill said, let's hold off until after the season. Fine. And it came up to the free agency time, and Howard Griffith, who was a close friend of mine and still a close friend of mine, his wife and my wife probably talk 2 or 3 times a week, even now. He flew out to Denver, and he got on the phone in meeting and said, Willie, you need to come out here. I went out, met with Mike Shanahan. I came back. I called Bill Polian personally. I called Bill and I called Jerry Richardson, and they said, we're going in a new direction. And I even was willing to take a pay cut to stay because, again, the bond with that team and this community was outstanding, and I didn't want to leave. And even when I played with Denver, I never left. I commuted back and forth. But, it was something that I wanted to stay here. I love the team. Coach Williams, I think overall, no doubt, was the best coach that I ever had. He was on my butt constantly, but I loved him for it, and it made me a better player.
Yeah, Richard Williamson, the wide receivers coach, still with the Panthers.
Still with
last
them.
Remaining.
I seen a preview on television last night, and he was still out there hollering and cussing at him. So, and I'm going to get down to the game, but that's one guy and this one team, again, like I said, I'll never forget.
Talk about the years in debt. What's it like catching a John Elway pass?
A broken finger. But, you know, John was typically when you see a player like that, even on my level, you still look at him as a star. You look at him as a kingmaker. And John never portrayed himself to be that way. He was one of the guys. He would talk to a special teams guy like he was talked to Terrell Davis. He gave him respect. And, you know, one of the things that he did in training camp that I thought was just unusual and strange, but yet it was gratifying, is he had a little go-kart track in Greeley to close down. And you had big 350-pound linemen and linebackers and quarterbacks and receivers all out riding go-karts. And you got John Elway out there competing against us. And I'm like, you know, we're big kids out here with these toys, but just the fact that he hung out with us that way, it created that bond, and that's something that I ultimately respect with him with that.
When you won the championship, that time when you beat Green Bay,
right?
Did you ever think back to that original 10 with the Panthers and
Yes.
thinking to yourself, "Oh my goodness, here I am, and I'm going to have a Super Bowl ring"?
Yes, it was a revengeful time for me. I hated Green Bay for that, and I grew up a Green Bay fan, but it was sweet revenge for me. And just playing in a Super Bowl, it's just really indescribable. The week leading up to it, the day of the game, even after the game, it was something that I'll never forget. And to be able to do it twice is something that rarely happens, very seldom happens. And I don't think in this day and time, with the free agency and the players switching team from team, you don't have those dynasties anymore, and it's going to be hard to do that unless you can choose your own team. That you're in like a Deion Sanders, you know.
Right. Willie, great seeing you. Continued success with the golf course.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, when I think back to that 96 team, that first 2 years was really something special in this town and with that organization. And,
it is.
Fond memories for sure.
It was, and you know, it's even from the owner down to the trainer, it was just, there was so much respect for everyone. Jerry Richardson, I can't say enough about him. The things that he did when my mom got sick and he personally wrote her a letter, that means a lot to me. That shows you that he was concerned about not only the players, but the families, and he knew about your family. Unlike, you know, maybe one other team that I played on where the owner of the team didn't even know your name, let alone your family, but just to have that bond with his players. And I read that he did the same thing to us, myself, Mark Carrier, Mike Fox, and Ernie Mills, where he invited us down to his home and had dinner and just discussed a lot of things and how we move forward. I read just recently he did the same thing, so it looks like he's doing the same thing over and over again. I don't doubt that the Panthers at some point in time is going to get back and win the Super Bowl.
Willie Green, our guest here on Sports Night at South End Brewery. When we come back, we'll be joined by another former Carolina Panther, Rod Smith. Stay right there.
Sports Night at South End Brewery is brought to you by South End Brewery and Smokehouse, offering fine cuisine, custom crafted beers, and the #1 microbrewery in the South. And by Imbo Furniture, Scandinavian and contemporary design. Fox Tops All, the countertop specialist. Call now and ask about our starting line selections. Hendrick Lexus. Come see Ronaldo Turnbull and get the keys to your luxurious new Lexus today. Thinking of updating your existing countertops? Then call the countertop specialists at Fox Tops All. Fox Tops All is a leading provider of premium custom manufactured countertops, which we fabricate to your specs. No matter how large the project, Fox Tops All believes in exemplary customer service from the moment you walk through our doors until the last installed surface meets your satisfaction. Come visit our Mooresville showroom today and see for yourself why Fox tops all.
Hi, I'm Ronaldo Turnbull. Commitment to excellence has been the cornerstone for all my professional endeavors. Here at Hendrick Lexus, I pride myself on providing my guests with exceptional service. I will educate you about our Lexus lineup and provide you with an outstanding experience. Hendrick Lexus offers one of the largest selections of new and certified pre-owned Lexus vehicles in the South. Our service team is one of the most well-respected groups in the Lexus network. So come on by as my guest and let me show you what makes Hendrick Lexus so special.
Welcome to Stressless, the recliner that lets you create your own personal comfort zone. With a smooth reclining glide system that eases your body into the perfect position for total relaxation. Plus full lumbar support and a headrest that adjusts automatically. Stressless. Relax your body, free your mind.
Come, experience Stressless at Inbo Furniture in Cornelius. Thinking of updating your existing countertops? Then call the countertop specialists at Fox Tops All. Fox Tops All is a leading provider of premium custom manufactured countertops which we fabricate to your specs. No matter how large the project, Fox Tops All believes in exemplary customer service from the moment you walk through our doors until the last installed surface meets your satisfaction. Come visit our Mooresville showroom today and see for yourself why Fox Tops All. Sports Night at South End Brewery is brought to you by South End Brewery and Smokehouse, offering fine cuisine, custom crafted beers, and the #1 microbrewery in the South. And by Inbo Furniture, Scandinavian and contemporary design. Fox Tops All, the countertop specialist. Call now and ask about our starting line selections. Hendrick Lexus. Come see Ronaldo Turnbull and get the keys to your luxurious new Lexus today.
Welcome back to Sports Night at South End Brewery. I'm Bill Rosinski. We continue our football discussion tonight with another former Carolina Panther. Actually won a national championship playing at Notre Dame. Started his career with the New England